Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 161 of a year of change. Today is the end of our week and the end of our 4-week ramp up to tracking, I was going to say Imodium, tracking sodium. I don't know where that came from. But going to do a quick little wrap up because drooling all over myself already. Starting off very good. The week itself has not been that bad, and then Wednesday hit. If you remember on Wednesday, I showed you a great big bag of jujubes that I had bought, because I just had a craving for junk food. The good thing about an impulse buy like that, though, is that I'm to a stage now, thankfully, where I can say, yes, I want it, and then I buy it, and then I go, I probably shouldn't have any. So the reason why I don't have it with me right now is because they're all gone. I didn't eat them, though, which is good. On Wednesday, I had been tracking along, and I did I guess it was Tuesday that I bought them. And I had, as we figured out with the math, about 1.5 handfuls, so about 30. And then Wednesday, after I recorded, I took them, I left them home. But throughout the day and in the evening, I had about 30 more. And then I thought, this is ridiculous, I'm taking them to work. And the main reason why I wanted to take them to work is because when I take things to work, everybody just swarms in and takes them. Because I knew I shouldn't be eating them, and I wasn't probably going to be eating a whole slew of them. So on Thursday, I had a grand total of 3. And then yesterday, I had a grand total of 5. The people at work have eaten the rest, so I'm happy. I'm good. I didn't eat as many as I thought I was going to. It's a bit of a waste of money, but I'd rather have the waste of money than everything else. So, sugar-wise, I was okay. However, Thursday, don't know if you can see in the video, but I was not feeling all the best. What had happened was on Wednesday, I just, again, in keeping in line with that, I need to eat something bad. Came home and overate. Didn't go over my calories for the day, but I did overeat. And what I found is that, and I think I've done this before actually, so you think I would know. I'm not accustomed to eating the way that I was eating 5 months ago. So when I overeat, there are significant drawbacks to it. So I was sick all day Thursday. It was just coming out of everywhere, my eyes, my feet, and just horrible all the way around. I don't know if it was just a matter of because I had pork chops, and I don't know if I assume it's just a matter of me overeating. But there's those moments you think, is that a bit dodgy? I don't know if that's what the issue. No, it's just because I overate, really. So, for those of you that are out there that are still thinking, you know what, I just want to have one day when I can just eat whatever I want. At this stage, we can't do that anymore. Not that, tisk, it's bad, you shouldn't be doing it. Just that if you do, you are going to pay the price for it. It's not enjoyable whatsoever. So that's what I dealt with all day Thursday. That's pretty much it. That's the end of the week. The main thing I wanted to talk about this week, though, was last week I had mentioned to you that I was going to change up my routine for the treadmill. For the past few weeks, what I've been doing is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I've been doing 5 kilometers on my treadmill. So I've basically just been doing a 5K. And since I started out at like 1 or 2 kilometers an hour, something on flat ground. And then each week I had either been raising it by half a degree, I think. So it was 1% grade and then 1.5%. And then I would increase the speed a little bit, and then I would increase the grade. So by the end of it, the week I was supposed to do 4.5 kilometers an hour, I skipped it and just went right to 5 kilometers an hour. So I thought enough is enough, 5% grade, sorry. I was doing 5 kilometers an hour for a while. I just kept raising it. And I was at 4%, and then instead of doing 4.5, I just went right to 5. Which I think may have contributed to the fact that I had a bit of a back thing going on afterwards. But I thought, okay, I'm going to sort of reevaluate, because I didn't know where to go from there. I didn't know, do I just keep raising it and then eventually I'm just going to be going vertical, or do I increase the speed, which is kind of weird because you have to sort of jump ahead because it's too fast to walk and it's too slow to jog. So anyway, I won't revisit that because that was last week. But if you remember, what I had said I was going to do was start out with going back down to flat ground, staying at 5 kilometers an hour, but I think at the time it was every 30 minutes, so a 30-minute interval, I was going to jog for 1 minute. What I decided to do, because I thought I could probably do the 1 minute without a problem, but I didn't want to get to a point where I was still out of breath when I started to run again. So I didn't want to drop down and say, okay, every 5 minutes I'm going to do it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to start things off right. Instead of me doing every 20 or every half hour, I want to drop it down to every 20 minutes. Then the math got all wonky, and I thought, okay, I want to have it so that it's at least even when I'm starting out. So what I've done this week is on my treadmill, I will walk for 5 kilometers an hour for 19 minutes, and then I have 1 minute when I go just jog for 1 minute. And on my speed, on my treadmill, it's a very slow jog. It's 8 kilometers an hour, so I can just hit a button and it picks it up for that 1 minute, and then I bring it back down. Then I go for another 19 minutes, jog for 1 minute, then another 19. So I still do a full hour with 3 intervals in there to start with. I thought I'll start with that for the first day, see where it goes. If it's too much, then I can draw back. And this week was mainly just to figure out where I stood. As it turns out, it worked out really, really well. So this entire week, not even just Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, those 5 days, I've done a 5K every single day. And basically what I've done is I've walked for 19 minutes, jogged for 1, walked for 19, jogged for 1. I've done that. So that's my starting point. So I'm going to stick with this next week, I guess. I'm going to drop it down to every 18 minutes, which still is just that interval, but it's going to keep me going. So I don't really know how to calculate it, so I've just been calculating it as if I was doing just straight walking for that hour on flat ground. So I've still stayed below my calories. However, here's the weird thing. On Thursday, the horrendous Thursday, when everything was going wrong, I took a sneak peek at my weight, and I had lost quite a bit. But for some reason, every day after that, I'm back up to where I was. So I don't feel like I've made any progress this week. It's been really weird. I've been below my calories. I haven't, aside from those 2 days when I had 2 or 3 handfuls of jujubes, I haven't really eaten any junk food. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But at this stage, now I can go, okay, now I feel like it might be a plateau. I need to do something. So I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing with the treadmill and go from there. Now, I was going to put up sort of a chart just to measure the intervals so that you can see what the chart looks like. But it's one of those things that it's going to be a little, I don't want to say, exclusive, I guess is the best way to put it. When we first started this, we wanted this to be for everybody. For me, the exercise that I find is the best for me right now, anyway, the one that works well for me, is walking. But there are going to be some of you out there that have a different exercise that you're doing. Maybe it's weightlifting. Maybe it's swimming. Maybe some of you can't walk, and you have to find an alternative that way. So whatever it is that you're doing, that's something that you can look at as well, is that if you're trying to get to a point where you're sort of getting used to what you've been doing and you don't know where to go, instead of just jumping into the next phase and saying, okay, well, now I'm going to start doing weightlifting and cardio and this and this and this and that, even just a little tweak like what I've been doing, even if it means sort of dialing it back a bit so that you can have that sort of beginning step, might be helpful. My goal at the end of this is that each week I'm going to increase the interval by 1 minute, so that next week I'm going to be walking for 18, jogging for 1, walking for 18, jogging for 1, and then 17 and 1, 17 and 1, and then 16 and 1, and 15 and 1. When I hit 14 and 1, that's going to bring in, at the very tail end of it, that's going to bring in another interval. So then, instead of me just doing walking and then jog, walk, jog for 3 intervals, it's going to end up being walk, jog, walk, jog, walk, jog, walk, jog. That sounded weird when I said it out loud, but you know what I mean. It'll bring in a 4th interval, because it'll be 14 minutes of walking, and then that last minute will be jogging. There are 4 15s and 60. Come on, you know how to do math. So my goal is that every minute that I bring down, it's going to get easier and easier for me to sort of narrow that gap between the walking and the running. For me, it's running. It's really a slow jog. But eventually it's going to bring in more and more intervals so that ideally at the end of 20 weeks from now, I should be walking for 1 minute, jogging for 1 minute, walking for 1 minute, jogging for 1 minute. And although I may not see very many results right now because this is the first week and for some reason I don't think I've lost any weight, I know that in the long term, eventually it is going to make a difference. And I think doing it 5 days a week instead of my regular 3, because I had mentioned last week as well that by bringing it down to a 0% grade and sort of slowing it down to that, or, well, not really slowing it down, but just having that grade, I'm going to be burning less calories, and it felt like I was sort of downgrading and not doing as much as I could have done. But adding in those extra 2 days, I think it makes me feel a little bit better. So at least I can say, overall, during the run of a week, I'm actually burning more than I was before. I'm not sweating as much and is just out of breath and tired at the end of it because I'm not climbing uphill. However, my back is much, much better. I don't want to be hunched over while I'm doing an exercise all the way up for an hour. So with this, I'm going to keep it at flat ground and just keep increasing the intervals so that my goal is by the end of 20 weeks, roughly, it should be about 20 weeks, then I'll be doing an hour of jogging 5 days a week. If I feel like doing it during the weekend, I'm going to do that. But right now, I'm just going to keep my weekends to myself and not do any exercise and go from there. I know at some point, though, because this has gotten to me as well, when I'm thinking I don't feel like I'm doing enough, it's going to get to me to a point where I'm going to think I really should be doing it on the weekend as well, just to also keep in that routine and just sort of go from there. But that's the main thing. I just sort of wanted to bring that up because I had mentioned it last week that I was going to do it every 30 minutes, and I thought that was just a little too far apart. So every 20 seems to be a good starting point for me anyway. Well, 19 technically, and then starting Monday, it'll be every 18, and then 17, and gradually little tiny improvements. Having that 1 minute difference between walking and jogging isn't going to make a huge difference, but 4 or 5 weeks down the road, when I bring in that fourth interval, then it's going to start in. And then gradually that'll get tighter and tighter and tighter until eventually I can jog for an hour, which right now, like a minute is tough. Thinking about jogging for an entire hour, just, I get out of breath just thinking about it. It makes me very, very tired. Makes me want to cry and throw up. But we're trying to do this to improve, so we're going to go from there. Some of you are going to have different exercises, like we said. Maybe yours is weightlifting. Maybe yours is some other exercise that I can't think of right now. Hockey, we'll do that. Maybe it's sports. We'll just sort of leave it at blanket sports that way. Whatever it is that you've decided to do, if you've gotten to a point where you feel, I'm not really going anywhere, then, see what else you can do. Maybe add in an extra day. Because we were doing 3 days a week. If you're not to that point, though, then stay where we are. The main thing is that you're still doing more than we were doing 5 months ago. And 3 days a week is still very, very good. Generally speaking, they say that you need about 3 hours of activity a week just to sort of maintain your health. And so 3 days a week, regardless as to whether it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or maybe you do Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever it is that you've decided to do for your 3 days, as long as we're keeping that up, then we're still good. You don't need to add in an extra day here, or, we don't need to say, well, I'm going to start running on top of everything else that I'm doing. You're going to know much better than I am, not only where your comfort level is, but where your fitness level is. For me, the main reason why I can't keep jogging more than a minute right now is I'm too fat. Everything's moving all over the place. It's just I'm hitting things and knocking things over with my man boobs and everything else. So there's that part, as well as I know that the amount of weight that I'm carrying around, it's got to be bad for my knees if I'm jogging for an extended period of time. But 20 weeks down the road, I'm hoping that as I keep going, because I'm going to be losing weight, I'm going to be hopefully getting a little bit stronger in my legs as well. As I'm doing this, that the less weight but more muscle, it's going to make the jogging easier, so that's going to sort of match up as well. So I'm hoping. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. I should probably go find out. Anyway, in the long run though, in the long run I think it's going to work out well. So that was pretty much it. I don't know what progress I've really, if any, I've made this week though. I did a sneak peek again today, and I just feel like I'm not losing anything. And I know that it's some of you are going, well, yeah, but you build muscle, and that's heavier than fat. I don't think it's that. I can't imagine actually building muscle from walking. And when I was walking, I was still losing weight. So if I haven't made any progress this week, even though I know I've been below my calories, I've been adding 2 extra days to my walk, then I know it is a plateau. But I know it again, I say this every single week, it will eventually drop off. So, and I'm very, very close to a significant milestone, and I really want to get over that hump, because when I do, it's going to make me feel very, very good. And I might even share my weight at that point. We've been doing this for a long time. I still haven't shared it, but maybe that'll be my milestone from there, to go from, anyway. I'm going to leave this here, because we've done sort of our update. There's not a lot that went on this week, other than, I had intended on, just slowly eating candy back and forth. That doesn't make any sense. Let's start that sentence over. That's going to make sense. So, I had initially intended on having some candy every now and then throughout the week, but I'm kind of glad I didn't. It's still very good candy, but I don't need it. And so it's probably the best thing for me to do is just take it to work and leave it there. I just left it out in the open. It's still there now, actually, during the weekend, so they'll finish those off. I don't need it, and it was nice to have a little bit of a treat, but in the long run, I think it's going to be more damaging than anything else. So, and if I am to that stage, sugar is one thing. If it was salt, I may not be saying the same thing. But with sugar, I can take it or leave it. So it's just a matter of saying I just don't really want anything. Which reminds me, yesterday, which was really weird. I know I said I was going to end this, but I have one more quick little thing. 17 minutes. Okay, we'll make it quick. And then I got to tell eventually a story at some point as well. I have it written down. Don't worry. Bad words coming. So yesterday I went on my lunch break. I thought I actually hadn't eaten all day, which is not good for you. Don't do it. I don't recommend it. But I wasn't hungry. I didn't get around to it. I'd had 2 or 3 coffees. So I was just, I'm on my lunch break. Don't know where to go. It's around 8 o'clock at night. So I'd been up for about 12 hours and had 2 pieces of bread and an orange and 3 coffees throughout the day. So anyway, I was on my lunch break. Didn't really know what to do, where to go, so I'm wandering around, driving back and forth, and I really wasn't hungry. So I thought, should I get something, and, something healthy, obviously, because if I'm not hungry, I'm not going to just get junk food. But I thought, no, I'm not hungry, so I'm not going to buy anything. I'll wait, I'll come home, and I'll find something there that I can have. But, a friend of mine was still at work. They couldn't really come out for lunch, so I thought, I will go to McDonald's for them, because I know that they're going to want McDonald's anyway, so I went to McDonald's. And I found, normally when you go to McDonald's, I don't care who you are, when you get the bag of food and you smell it, you think, I really want this. Really, really, really want this. But even then, because it's been so long since I've had any fast food or anything, although it smelled fine, it didn't sort of trigger that I need to eat right now feeling. So yeah, I didn't have any McDonald's. That's not really a story. That's my story. I didn't eat at McDonald's yesterday. Well, so what? But anyway, I just thought it was really interesting that normally that would be the point where I would think, oh, that smells really good. I should go back around the drive-thru and get something, even if it's just something healthy, like a double quarter pounder. But yeah, it was just... It's nice being able to get to that point when I can say, yeah, no, I'm not hungry, so I'm not going to eat. Which sounds like it should be something that's very simple and something that we should really be, we shouldn't have to fight for. But as many of you know, it is really tough. Even when you're not hungry, even when you're full and you just go, yeah, but I want more, it's so good. Anyway, thought it was a little bit interesting. Tomorrow we are going to start in on our fat. And I'm going to go through my sodium again, sort of put a little pin in that so that I don't forget, and just show you what the progress is with that, and then we're going to add fat intake to it. It's going to be much, much easier, I think, than the sodium, because a lot of what we've been doing over the past few months just naturally filters out a lot of the fat. You've probably cut down on going to fast food places. You've probably cut down quite a bit on, just buying fatty foods because we're eating fresh stuff. So I don't think it's going to be as bad. You're probably not buying buckets of cheese. I know I'm not anymore. I used to buy great big blocks of it. So there's a lot of stuff like that. We've been adding more fruits and vegetables and things like that. So our diets are naturally going to be lower in fat than they were 5 months ago. So it's going to be a much, much easier thing. And we aren't going to go overboard with this one ever. So don't worry about that. So tomorrow, go into a little bit more detail. Just sort of go from there. But it's going to be fine. Don't worry. Tough one isn't coming for another 4 weeks. And then we'll get into sugar. That one might be a little more difficult because there's sugar in everything. So that's the one that we're going to need to work on. But for the time being, I'm going to leave this video here. So thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. And in the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.